If you had to
Right.
hashtag the Giants, if you had to put out a Giants tweet this morning, what's your hashtag? You don't have to type it out. Let's just talk it out.
For theirs?
Yeah, like one word that describes where the Giants are right
now. They're searching.
Searching.
Hashtag.
That's right.
Searching.
That's exactly right.
I think they're finding some stuff, man. I really do. Danny has not played that bad this year, and I know it's hard for you because this is a topic where you want to be as down the middle as possible. But like, I will say this: like, Danny does enough to make you believe in him from time to time, and especially on the road, man. That's the reason I bet the Giants last night, because I was like, road Danny Dimes is like, he's a Hall of Famer almost, exaggerating, but. Is there a reason somebody might play better on the road, a quarterback? Like, is there any conceivable, like, reasoning other than maybe you feel like you're on a vacation when you're not at that stadium in New York?
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like sometimes I played better on the road. And in that 2007 season, we went 7-1 on the road. In the regular season, and went 3-4 at home.
Yeah.
It's like that's not quite normal. And so, maybe you simplify the game plan because of the crowd noise. You don't have as many audibles in and many checks, and so you're not thinking as much. It's like, hey, we're just calling plays and react. Like, hey, if they come with this blitz, let's not try to like figure out the perfect protection. Let's just throw hot. And we'll get out of it. And so at home, you have all the time. You got the cadence. You can use all these things. You can pick up these perfect blitzes, and sometimes like it doesn't work. And so you get bad plays and overthinking and looking for that check instead of just playing football. And but I think like you said, I think Danny is not the problem. I think he's making a lot of plays. They're using them in a ton of ways. I talked about it, like, on their best drive last week versus Carolina. He's running, read option. They're not blocking the one technique. They don't block him. They're reading off him.
That's weird.
And he's running up the middle. They ran a option. They did an option last night again. They did a quarterback draw. They did a throwback back to Daniel, and then he threw a touchdown. Like that's how they had to score points, is being very creative, moving the pocket. They're just not. They're banged up front. They had, their top receivers out, their top running backs out. Like, they're just limited on their players and some personnel when, they can't just say, hey, take a 5-step drop, 2 hits and rip it. It's like, if he wants to throw it, he's got to throw it before guys are open and before the play has time to develop. And that usually leads to, inaccurate balls, tip balls, bad plays.
Give me a throw he throws, a route he throws really well, and then one that maybe he needs to work on a little bit.
I feel like he does best like when he can get the play action, and he can be under center and get a 7-step drop, and he can come out, and like any ball at that situation is accurate. And whether it's like the deep comebacks, it's the break-ins, it's the hooks over the middle of the field, like when he has a little bit of time and he can step into his throws, he's deadly accurate. I haven't seen him, hit like this, the go routes, and some of that's just like you got, 6 different receivers all playing out there. Your main target, Galladay, has been hurt for a while. Like, that's your deep, big body target. The other guy's Tony. They're Shepard. They're smaller guys that are more slot guys. So I think he just doesn't have that outside receiver, great presence. And he just missed a few on those deeper throws. They had one in Washington. They had one last night on a deep throw. They had the pass interference.
Yep.
He just missed a few of those.
They needed that 3rd and 11 early, though. If they don't hit that ball to John Ross, I think maybe that game turns out differently.
Yeah, I agree. That was a big play. So they put together a couple good drives. They just don't have the players and to go score 30 points, which is kind of what you have to do against Kansas City. Their defense has been giving up 30 points a game. You got to, put a little pressure on them.
Yeah.
And, they could still kind of play patient. They still tried to, almost lose the game, Kansas City last night. And they didn't have to force things, and Mahomes could stay patient.
You talked about play action. Were you ever afraid, like, and I don't mean afraid, like reasonable afraid, because I would be afraid if I was a quarterback. I mean, like, no, thank you. I like doing what we did, not what y'all did, where you got to turn your back to the defense in a play action situation on the road. You turn around, do you have to process quicker generally the way you think about it in play action, or is it like more the expectation is going to be there? Like what you expect to be there is going to be there. It's less variable. And are you worried more about the rush? Because I feel like y'all get tattooed the worst on play action if somebody wins fast.
Yeah, I think I like play action, and just because for the most part, I mean, for some of them, hey, you're keeping some tight ends in and they're blocking, and hey, let's make this look like the run. And I think that's kind of like you don't have to read the coverage off the get-go so quickly, because the play fake should be like getting all the suck where you should have time and just kind of read, hey, this receiver to this receiver. You can see the coverage afterwards, and you might get some tips just from knowing the defense and your game plan. But I just thought you needed a few of those plays where like, hey, I'm going to be protected. I can give a great fake and worry about that, and I'm going to come out and like I'm going to work this receiver. And if no one's open, I'll look for my back or throw it away. And it's like you don't have to overthink things. You can just do that job. And then there's obviously third downs where it's, odd spacing and guys walking around that you got to, do the math equation to get this protected and figured out where the brain's working a bunch. But you need a couple of those kind of, hey, easy playoffs where you can just, not think and just play football.